Welcome to the ZimmCast, a program dedicated to bringing you what's new in agricultural marketing. The ZimmCast is the official podcast of AgWired and hosted by Chuck and Cindy Zimmerman.
Hello and welcome to the ZimmCast. I'm Chuck Zimmerman. It's been a busy time for the ZimmComm team in the past few weeks. After the Tech Hub Live conference, it was on the way to the Southern Peanut Growers Conference, and then Ag Media Summit, the ACE annual meeting, and then the Farm Progress Show. In fact, I'm on my way home from the 2025 Farm Progress Show and thought I'd share some interviews here. So let's get started. Besides an interview with Rob Shaffer, who is an Illinois farmer, and he talked about the John Deere announcement about B30 biodiesel compatibility across all of their engine portfolio, I'm sharing an interview also with Andy Heggenstaller. He's Global Oilseeds and Cereals Portfolio Strategy Head for Syngenta, and he talks about Syngenta and M.S. technologies and their next generation in soybean herbicide tolerance. And then Craig Abell, National Executive Agronomist for Syngenta, who talks about a new soil-applied insecticide product soon to come to the market. So let's get started. Rob, we're at Farm Progress Show, and first of all, just tell me your name and what you do.
Yeah, Rob Shaffer, El Paso, Illinois farmer, corn, soybeans, and Angus cattle.
I understand you're on the board of Clean Fields?
Yeah, I'm first vice president of Clean Fields, currently on the ASA board, and just newly elected back to the Illinois soybean board.
Well, let's talk a little bit about this announcement John Deere just came out with. They announced B30 biodiesel compatibility across their whole engine portfolio. That seems pretty significant, doesn't it?
Yeah, so base B30, which would be 30% biodiesel, so 70% regular diesel, 30% bio, made either out of soybeans or animal fat or something that a farmer grows, and actually corn oil as well coming out of an ethanol plant. There's usually the main ingredients for making that 30%, the 100% bio, which they blend 30% with diesel to get to the B30. It's a good achievement. It's great for the American farmer for the Tier 7s and Tier 4s engines, because they're going to use if a combine's cutting soybeans, we can take those soybeans and crush them and make oil and then turn around and put it in the gas tank or fuel tank.
I know it's announced, but you can start doing that right away.
Yeah, the new combines and tractors coming off the line as we speak are now all approved. And the other thing is, with guidance, that one of our biggest farmers' headaches has been dealing with DEF or DEF, and with the Trump announcement, EPA is going to come out and lower those emissions, lower the requirements on those, because we're burning cleaner fuels, with ethanol, which you don't even on a gasoline engine, but on the diesel engines, we're definitely going with higher blends. It's better for the environment, and we don't need to reduce those emissions due to the fact that you've got the extra environmentally friendly bio in that diesel.
So this must be good for demand for soybeans.
That's the other thing. Right now, we need all the demand we can get, without China trade, without a China trade deal. Whatever we can do to be domestic and, lower our dependence on foreign oil, with whether that's, ethanol going into gasoline or biodiesel going into diesel, that extends the life of those oil products, and also our dependence on other people, wars and other things, and we can just grow more here and use more here. It's better for jobs and sales taxes and all that kind of stuff if we can keep it here in the United States for the value add.
So how about just on a personal level, what's your crop like this year?
So we were on par we were setting up for a 24, which was 24 was a record on our farm, both corn and soybeans, as far as yield across all of our acres. We were on par for that until about the middle of July. We just got too hot for too long at night, so the corn couldn't respirate. We had 16 days roughly where the temperatures at night never got below 72 degrees, which corn needs to respirate and help build test weight, and also the tip back on the kernels during pollination. We had water, which you got to have two things. You got to have water, and you got to be able to, warm temperatures in the day, but as long as it can respirate at night, which we didn't get. So that'll take us off. We'll still be above our APHs, which would be our 10-year histories for our farms, but we're going to be below last year, which, in the environment that we are in with, $3.75 corn for cash and right at $10 beans, we need every bushel we can to squeak out from being broke this year, or even, make the red less red.
Well, what do you think about the Farm Progress Show this year? Because You know, when it comes to weather, you never know. But what are we? I don't think we've ever seen it like this.
No, I wish I could take credit for ordering 74-degree highs and 56-degree lows. Usually, I always tell people that the Farm Progress Show and the State Fair in Illinois are the two hottest weeks of the year. It was very hot during this year's State Fair. It was close over 105-degree heat indexes for those 2 weeks. But we nailed it on this deal. There's only been one other year I remember having to put on a pullover in the spring, in the morning when I got out of the truck. But this year, I didn't do it this morning. I did it yesterday, but I did not do it today because I knew it was going to warm up in the afternoon.
Well, anything else you might want to say when it comes to whether it's clean fuels or Illinois soybean?
We hope everybody stays safe this harvest. We did have, unfortunately, we had one of my friends, his father's got killed in a grain bin accident last week. Actually, about 10 miles from where we are right now. The gentleman was 74 years old and probably had done it 100 times in his life and got stuck in that bin, and the caking fell off the side of the bin, and it took him 6 hours to get him out, and unfortunately passed away before they could get him out. And it took him 3 hours just to even find where he was. And like I said, everybody stay safe. Bin safety is very important. I'm on the board of a very large, the second largest co-op for elevator in Illinois, in the state of Illinois, and that's something we need to take serious. Even though we talk about it a lot, like I said, we all talk about. We've put a lot of money and time into talking about bin safety. But yeah, definitely this fall, folks, take every precaution, and like I said, it's not worth it.
It's definitely a sad situation, and we've seen this in stories. It's sad. Well, thanks for visiting with me, Rob. Andy here at Farm Progress Show. Tell me your name and what you do for Syngenta.
Hi, Chuck. My name's Andy Heggenstaller. I'm the global head of portfolio strategy for oilseeds and cereals. So for our conversation today, think soybean portfolio strategy globally for Syngenta.
Absolutely. You've got an announcement that just came out today, Syngenta with M.S. Technologies. Tell us a little bit about this, because it's a new soybean herbicide with tolerance.
Yeah, it's something we're really excited about, and here at Farm Progress today, the first time we're speaking publicly about it. Syngenta, as you said, with MS Technology, we have developed a new trait stack for herbicide tolerance in soybean. The plan is pending regulatory approval. The new soybeans with this trait, which I'll talk about a little bit here in a minute, would be available for farmers in 2029, pending regulatory approval. And this is a real exciting trait stack, because really what it's bringing new to the game is the widest options for HPPD herbicides on soybeans of any current or next generation trait stack. So what this trait is, Chuck, it's a breeding stack of the Enlist E3 trait, which your listeners will certainly have familiarity with, as well as another trait called FG72, which is providing tolerance to a wide variety of pre-emergent HPPD herbicides. And as I mentioned a minute ago, we've got a number of new herbicide soybean technologies coming to the market in the industry right now, kind of second half of this decade. This trait combination, of course, it'll allow application of 2,4-D, glyphosate, and glufosinate like farmers are used to with the Enlist E3 system, and will also bring, as I said, the widest optionality, and effectively any HPPD herbicide that gets a label for tolerant soy will be able to be applied on this soybean. So think products like mesotrione, bicyclopyrone, isoxaflutol. A lot of the chemistries today that are core to early season pre-emergent weed control in corn will now be available on this trait stack for soy.
How significant is that going to be for your customer?
I think pretty significant. Most farmers I know would say that weed management is one of, not maybe their only, but one of the most challenging aspects with soybean, especially as more and more weed populations are developing resistance to glyphosate. We're beginning to see that in some other chemistries as well. So having access to a new set of tools that has high efficacy against weeds that may be resistant to other post-emergent products, it'll just be an additional tool for farmers. The other thing it brings is some flexibility. If you think about it, let's say you plan to put corn on a field and something happens and you change to soy, the same similar type of chemistries, not in every case, but many of those HPPD chemistries that you would use for pre-emergent applications in corn will now be able, pending labels for these herbicides and these pre-mixed herbicides, will be able to be applied on these soybeans as well.
I know this is an announcement that just came out, but have you talked to farmers about this yet, and to see, just get their feedback?
We have. We did a lot of work over the last several years, really a lot of it in 2023 and 2024, getting feedback from farmers. Right now, you notice I didn't mention a name yet. We'll announce the name and the brand for this early next year. We have some work with farmers right now, having them help us on the name, but we spent a lot of time over the last couple of years having conversations with farmers about what their weed management needs in soy were, and we've heard a lot of interest from farmers to have access to additional herbicide tools for soybean weed management, and we think that this will be a new tool for those customers, those farmers that are interested or doing business with Syngenta or our brands.
Well, besides this big announcement, anything else you'd like folks to know with what you're doing with Syngenta?
Maybe the only other thing I would add that's pertinent to this discussion is at the same time that we've deregulated or in the process of deregulating this trade and we've constructed the stack to make the breeding in our pipeline, we've also converted our soybean breeding pipeline to a conventional base. And so you might say, well, why does that matter? What it's doing for us is, as what we've seen in the industry over the last decade, is there's always a new soybean herbicide trait coming out. Companies are switching and adding things much more frequently than we were 20 years ago. And so by moving our breeding program onto a conventional base, it allows us to accelerate genetic gain and bring new herbicide traits in as we need. So what does that mean to a farmer? Why does that matter? My expectation is the soybeans that are available in the market with this new trait stack from Syngenta and M.S. technologies in the late 2020s, we will actually see a pretty significant grain yield bump in these varieties as well. I think if you talk to a lot of farmers, what was their impression when E3 soybeans came out? And I'm simplifying and generalizing here, but I think a lot of farmers, and my personal experience is it was a great new weed management tool, but a lot of times some of those new E3 varieties didn't come out with as high a yield expectations as the Extend or Extend Flex soybeans farmers had been using. I think it's going to be a different game this time around, and because we've reorganized our breeding pipeline at the same time we've begun introgressing this new trait, I think we'll actually see this next generation of soybean traits from Syngenta have higher yield, and farmers experience not only access to some new pre-emergent weed management tools, but also see a nice bump and continued yield improvement in these soybeans.
Well, thank you very much, Andy, for visiting with me here. We're at Farm Progress Show. I'm Chuck Zimmerman. Craig, here at Farm Progress Show, tell us your name and what you do for Syngenta.
My name is Craig Abell. I'm National Executive Agronomist, and I reside in Mahomet, Illinois.
Well, it's great to see you here, and we'd like to talk about an upcoming new product from Syngenta. This one to take care of corn rootworm, which is a significant problem for sure. Tell us a little bit about it, its name, and what we should be expecting.
Well, it's an exciting time. So we have some new technology, and we refer to it as planazoline technology. So it's a new insecticide mode of action. It's being developed in several markets. We're here today to talk about the corn market, and we have a new product that's going to be into the corn market for corn rootworms called Opello. So it's an in-furrow application at planting time. It's very flexible to use. You can use water as a carrier. You can use starter fertilizer, pop-up fertilizer. We haven't found anything that it's not compatible with as of yet. So as you look at other things on the market, it's had some other products have had trouble in this space, and we've got a clean bill of health. It's a new mode of action, so it's a Group 30. So as we look at existing insecticides and also traits, this is a tool to take pressure off of both of those. As we know, the traits may not be as successful as they once were. We've got pockets in Iowa where we struggle for performance. Opello is going to be able to kind of level the playing field. So it's going to be effective on a non-traded hybrid, a conventional type hybrid, or a double pro. It's going to supplement rootworm control. And then in some of those really intense places, I'll throw Clinton, Iowa out, or northern Illinois, where we've got traits that are having 1 or 2 nodes being fed on. This is going to supplement that, and so you could have near perfect root system at harvest time if you supplement a trait with a Pello.
Well, we mentioned rootworm. It controls other pests, though.
Yeah, other look at wireworms, other soil grubs, other soil pests as well. So it is a broad spectrum product.
So when are we expecting this to be approved?
Well, we've been working on this project for about 10 years, and so we anticipate registration in September. We've got all of our homework done, so we're just kind of waiting on the magic stamp before we can start to market this to farmers in Illinois, Iowa, Nebraska, Indiana.
Well, before we close, anything else you want to touch on that we didn't?
No, it's exciting technology. It's something that has been used. I got a group here from Brazil. They've been using it for two crop cycles in Brazil, and so we do have proven performance. So it is going to be exciting. And at the same time, areas where farmers have struggled. This past week we had some storm weather come through northern Illinois. From the interstate, you can see those goosenecked corn plants, and this is something to help alleviate that problem in this market. So.
Well, thank you very much, Craig, for visiting with me here. We're at Farm Progress Show. There are a lot of other interviews and audio besides photos in our Ag Newswire virtual Ag Newsroom from this year's Farm Progress Show. So if you have a chance, just go to agnewswire.com and you'll find lots of interviews that I conducted in the time that I had there. And I want to thank Syngenta for making it possible for me to go to the show this year. So that's the ZimmCast for now. I hope you enjoy it, and thank you for listening.
You've been listening to the ZimmCast, the official podcast of AgWired. Check us out at www.agwired.com to find out what's new in agricultural marketing.